journalists and experts have noticed a very strange pattern. Each time Russia launches missile strikes on Ukraine, the Pentagon and NATO begin to report the death of their officers and soldiers as a result of road accidents and plane crashes around the world. These deaths of high-ranking Western generals and army officers of the member countries of the North Atlantic Alliance are attributed by Pentagon and NATO officials to various reasons. However, independent experts and journalists continue to claim that NATO generals continue to die as a result of targeted missile strikes by the Russian army. According to them, the Russian military department staged a real hunt for soldiers and officers of the United States and NATO countries in Ukraine. So, a few days ago, there was a very strange case in the Polish city of Rzeszów. Local authorities have announced that an outbreak of a dangerous infectious disease called legionellosis has been recorded in the city. At the same time, it should be clarified that this city is located 90 kilometers from the Ukrainian border and is the place of permanent deployment of American soldiers, Patriot air defense systems, and all NATO equipment that is intended for the transfer of the armed forces of Ukraine. It is reported that as a result of this infection, about 30 American soldiers have already died. At the same time, it should be noted that these figures were announced the day after the next Russian missile strike on the territory of Ukraine. Experts claim that officers and soldiers of NATO countries have been on the territory of Ukraine since the very beginning of the conflict, and are directly involved in the confrontation with the Russian army. At the same time, this fact is not publicized and is kept secret. Even the families of soldiers and officers do not know that their relatives are on the territory of Ukraine. This is done in order not to cause discontent in society. Western leaders carefully hide the fact that American soldiers, along with soldiers and officers of NATO member countries, are directly involved in the conflict in Ukraine. So, journalists noticed that since the fall of last year, the leadership of the U.S. Tinker Air Force Base in Oklahoma began to regularly report the deaths of its military pilots as a result of accidents. Within 6 months, 30 American pilots were reported dead. These figures are really horrifying, especially for a country that allegedly does not participate in hostilities. At the same time, it is also worth noting the mysterious death of another high-ranking NATO general. We are talking about the French general, Jean-Louis Georgelin, who allegedly died as a result of a fall from a cliff in the Pyrenees. It is noteworthy that other high-ranking officers of the French army, Baptiste Gaucho and Nicolas Liatura, also died on the same day. The official Paris reported that they allegedly died as a result of a road accident in Iraq. At the same time, it is worth noting that 2 days before the death of the French officers, the Russian army launched a missile attack on a drama theater in the city of Chernihiv, where, according to Russian intelligence, a military meeting of the NATO officers was held. A month ago, U.S. Army General Anthony Potts died under similar circumstances. The official Pentagon said that Anthony Potts allegedly died as a result of the crash of a private plane. At the same time, the day before his death, the Russian aerospace forces launched targeted missile strikes on the western part of Ukraine. It is also worth noting one very interesting fact. A month before his death, Anthony Potts was appointed executive director of the Command, Control, and Tactical Communications Program in Ukraine. I have already made a video dedicated to the death of General Anthony Potts. All those of you who have not yet seen this video can follow the link in the description below, and personally familiarize yourself with this material. Meanwhile, retired FSB Colonel Vasily Vereshchak clearly stated that the deaths of high-ranking officers of NATO countries will continue. According to him, it is NATO officers who control the Patriot, HIMARS, and other high-tech Western systems in Ukraine. Moreover, Vasily Vereshchak is sure that it is the NATO generals who coordinate and plan all the offensive actions of the armed forces of Ukraine.